it's Dan with Hip Hops. Today I'm gonna do the Vinyl Tag 2023. I haven't been on here in a while. We had another daughter earlier this year, and I've just been really busy. And I was meaning to do this earlier in the month of January, but then got busy. The whole house got sick. Just getting over the cold. So if you hear me cough a little bit, I apologize. And my dog is sleeping right here. So if you hear any licking or snoring, it's this guy. Oh, and so I am more active on Instagram, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's hip__hops. But I am drinking the Hopewell Stay Frosty Winter Lager. They're based out of the Logan Square neighborhood of Chicago. All right, so this is the Rob Walker version of the Vinyl Tag, 20 questions. And I'm just gonna get started so it's not too long of a video. Favorite new album of 2022. Daniel Villarreal, Panama 77. This is on the International Anthem. This is sort of like Latin jazz. It's on this gold vinyl. And I'll show the vinyl if it's colored the best I can. This guy's local from Chicago. He's a drummer, but it's got like a real Latin jazz flair to it. But I really dig this album. All right, so number 2 is their last band or artist you saw live. And I've only been to one concert post shutdown, pandemic shutdown. And it was The Tallest Man on Earth. He came to, totally just blanked on what it's called. It's a music school here in the Lincoln Square neighborhood of Chicago. And it's kind of like a cool like theater seating where he's just up on a stage. And it's really kind of an intimate Old Town School of Folk, sorry. So the Lincoln Square version, or the location. All right. Number 3, their first album was their best. For me, that's Alt J's An Awesome Wave. I really love this album. I actually went and saw them at Lollapalooza when this album came out, and I wasn't impressed. I was kind of like, they kind of just stood there. It wasn't like, they weren't really engaged with the crowd. I don't know what they're doing since then, but everything's kind of come out. It hasn't really grabbed my attention. I feel like it's so much different. It almost got like a folky twinge to what they were doing in the first album, but yeah, not my jam after that first album. All right, so a hat trick. I don't have a hat trick because I haven't bought CDs in a long time, and I never really bought cassettes. So what I do have is a brace, which is 2. So this is Comfort Food by Juicy, The Emissary, Boom Baptist, and Eloquent. This is a instrumental hip hop album. And it's based off of donuts here, and this is on this like cotton candy vinyl. And it came with like a whole pack with the tape already in there. I don't even have anything to play it, but so that's the closest I have to that. All right, so number 5, album that starts and ends with the same letter. I thought this was really cool. It took me a minute to find one, and then I found 2 right away, and I was like, I'm just gonna show them both. So what I have is MXPX, The Ever Passing Moment. And this is on a pretty cool splatter colored vinyl that goes really cool with the album cover. This is pop punk. This one came out in 2000. This is a repress that was pretty recent. So yeah, T&T. And then the other one I have is a album that came out, I believe it was 2022. Yeah, 2022. This is Damien Dorado's newest reggae film star. And on Maricopa Records, which is his new label he's running. It's like a, indie singer-songwriter. All right, Born in the Same Year as You, number 6. All right, so I was born in 1987, and so is Kendrick Lamar. He's a few months older than me, but yeah, Kendrick Lamar. This is like the special edition of Damn, where he like flipped the track listing to where this is apparently how it was supposed to be done, and the original one that got commercially released was flipped completely. I'm not sure why or what happened. Most listened to album of 2022. All right, so this one I kind of like flipped back and forth between a couple different albums, but I rested on Universal Beings by Makaya McCraven. I down like a rabbit hole with him earlier this year and got a lot of his stuff. I still have a couple of his albums I need to grab, and they are being re-released, which is nice. But so he's a drummer. He's also local Chicago here, the International Anthem label, and he travels around and records with people in like London and New York and LA, I think, if I remember correctly, in Chicago. And it's real drum heavy, and all of his albums kind of sound a little different. Some of them are more traditional, some of them are more free, some of them have more of like a soul jazz. So I don't know, you should check him out though. Makaya McCraven. Most listened to artist of 2022. This is number 8, and it's Leif Volbeck, who is a Canadian singer-songwriter, plays piano and guitar and sings. I love this. This is another one that I heard a song like a couple years ago, and then I heard another one, and I was like, wait, I really like this guy. And then I really started digging into his stuff, and now I have 3 of his albums, one of them being a live album. But Elegy is probably one of his biggest songs on this one, at least, but really good album. It's called, I'm like blanking on what it's called right now. Twin Solitude. All right. Number 9, an Australian artist or band. I'm going with a band, Surprise Chef. And this is called All News is Good News. And this is kind of like a instrumental jazz funk band, which a lot of these guys have been kind of popping up lately. This one's from 2019 now on Mr. Bongo Records. You can kind of see, here, I'll show you, this is what they look like. But yeah, they are from Australia. This says, for fans of Axelrod, Truth and Soul, El Michaels Affair, and Daptone. Really good album, good group. Surprising purchase of 2022. So I went with the Nathaniel Rateliff, and this is Nathaniel Rateliff Red Rocks 2020. I just got this album this year, and it's like packed in here pretty tight, but it's like this like olive green or forest green vinyl. This is the Vinyl Me Please rendition of it. The picture here is the seats empty at Red Rocks. Of course, 2020, the pandemic was like really hitting and shutting things down. So he had a concert scheduled. I believe it was pre-scheduled prior to the pandemic, but he went ahead and played to an empty stadium, and they recorded it and then pressed this. And now, why was this a surprise? I love Nathaniel Rateliff, but I was surprised how good this sounded. Like, it sounds so good, even though it's live. And a lot of live albums don't sound very great, but that was a surprise for how good that one sounded. All right, artist or band you're complete on. So I have a couple different ones I'm complete on. I went with a German artist. His name is Flughand, and I have 12 of his albums, so I'm just gonna kind of flip through them, and I might say something cool. One thing I do want to say, so he has his dog is in a lot of his album covers. You can see him there on the cloud with him. Joni? I'm blanking on what the dog's name was right now, but the dog passed away. She passed away this year, which is a bummer for his fans, because like I said, the dog was in a lot of his posts and everything. But so she's in a lot of the album covers, and his dad is the artist on most of these, and I think I've showed him before, but I have 12 of his albums. It's like German lo-fi instrumental hip-hop. The other cool thing, so this one's called For Alva, and he had a baby named Alva. And then he has For Emma, which I might have already showed and put down, I can't remember right now, but Emma is another one of his. This is it, For Emmy, sorry, For Emmy. And he had a daughter named Emmy. That was the first daughter, and he named the albums after their kid. And then I even have some 10 inches that he did, and this was with a saxophonist named, I don't know if you pronounce it Steichi or Steichi, I think it's Steichi. It's a German saxophonist, and these are 10 inches. And then I have a 7-inch here. This is one side's him, one side's Smooth, which is another German beat maker. And then these are little like picture discs, like 7-inch picture discs. And they come from Die Maus, which is a German children's TV show. So he did a couple tracks. Sorry about that. Got to the end and realized my phone stopped recording in the middle here. So I'm gonna start over at I was at number 12. A great run of 3 albums. So this is what I would consider the best run of 3 albums in hip hop history. Tribe Called Quest, People's Instinctive Travels, Midnight Marauders, and The Low End Theory. Best run of hip hop albums, in my opinion. All right, so the next one is 80s soundtrack. I don't have any 80s soundtracks. Again, I was born in 87. I was never really into 80s movies and don't really collect soundtracks. But what I do have is a 1990 soundtrack, and that's Home Alone. And it's on this red and green vinyl. It's on like a die cut sleeve from Mondo. It's got all the Christmas tracks from the film. It's a good little soundtrack. Someone we lost in 2022. We lost Pharoah Sanders. He was 81 years old. And yeah, this is Village of the Pharaohs. Disappointing purchase of 2022. And that is Khruangbin and Leon Bridges, Texas Moon. This is on the Lunar Fog color. I'll show you here. You can see. And I love this album, and I love like the Texas Sun album that preceded this. It's disappointing because it came with a seam split, but on the top there, I wasn't gonna send it back. But then it doesn't sound good. Like it sounds like muffled. And I started looking into it, and a lot of other people are complaining about it, and they were also saying that a lot of Khruangbin albums don't sound well. So I only have one other one, and it doesn't sound great. But so yeah, that's the only reason that one was disappointing. All right, non-vinyl purchase. I picked up Londa C, his Windmills in My Head cassette, and I think he only made like 25 or 50 of these things. Londa C he's a French producer of instrumental music. He's a really great guitarist, but he decided to do, I don't think you can hear my dog snoring for sure, I'm sure. He decided to do ambient music. And so he released this. I just picked it up because I love what he does. He's a really nice guy online, and he's chatted with me a couple times, and I just wanted to support. All right, so you found a Grail. So this I've been looking for over a decade, and every time I saw it on Discogs, which is even popping up was rare, but it was like $300, $400, and I was like, never gonna be able to afford that. Alexi Murdoch's Time Without Consequence, and the only reason I have this is because they repressed it, and so this just got repressed this year. I immediately picked it up when I saw it because I was like, I had no idea how hard it's going to be to find represses if I don't grab it now. But he's a great singer-songwriter. You might have heard the song All My Days. It's probably his most famous song. A space-themed album or song. I picked 2 albums just because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to show. This is Sabe, Under the Stars. You can see it's like an airport out in outer space, probably on the moon. And it's on this exclusive yellow vinyl, which I don't remember if this was exclusive to Hit Dozier, which is the record label, or what, but yeah. And then the second one I have is Don and Vaughn, and you can see they're sitting on the moon there. And Don and Vaughn, so it's Don Will and Vaughn P, and they are 2/3 of Tanya Morgan, which is like a early 2000s hip hop group if you're into like the raucous era of hip hop. Really good lyricism and beats if you like that like boom bap sound. 19 is VCLT or a gift, and I was fortunate enough to get some VCLT from Drew from Diamond Needles, and him and I were both Packers fans. We kind of go back and forth, but he wanted to send me this. This is volume 2 of Super Rappin', and it's got people like Biz Markie, Pete Rock, J Live, Mr. Liff. It's got a bunch of people on here, Lone Catalyst. But he said this was his favorite hip hop compilation, so he wanted to send it to me, and really dig it and appreciative of that. Okay, so and last but not least, number 20 is an album released in 1973, meaning it's 50 years old this year. I went with Herbie Hancock's Headhunters. I love this album. It's like jazz funk at its best. Chameleon, Watermelon Man, so good. I also had Donald Byrd's Blackbird, but I was like, this is too good. And I love this album cover. I just love the colors. All right, so that's my vinyl tag of 2023. And I appreciate you guys watching. I'm hoping to start making a little more videos. Probably won't be super consistent in putting out a lot of videos, like definitely not each week. I'm also on a podcast called The Malting Hour, so it's like one of my nights a week almost, or every other week goes to that. And that along with the kids, it's just like, it's a lot right now. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's hip__hops. I'm pretty active on there. I at least post once a week, but I try to post like every 4 to 5 days. And that's where I spend most of my social time, or social media time, I should say. But yeah, thanks for watching, and drink some new beer and listen to some music.